Hello! So this evening we are going to be completing our journey through the Flying Iron simulations aircraft for Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020. And we are looking at the Grumman F6F Hellcat. So obviously this was a carrier-borne aircraft, but we're going to be flying it from Boonville in the US because we haven't got an aircraft carrier nearby. So let's go and have a look around it with the drone camera. You can see, in common with all of the Flying Iron simulations aircraft, it's wonderfully modelled. So even in this low early morning sunlight, it looks spectacular. So you can see all the structures around the aircraft, really nicely done. Come out along the wing, have a look. It's very cool, isn't it? So it comes with a period accurate pilot that you can switch on and off in the tablet, so you can put other pilots in if you wish. If we come down and have a look around the fuselage, the material modelling and texturing is just, yeah, very, very good. Let's come underneath and have a look at the tail wheel and the assemblies down here. So yeah, the attention to detail is just spectacular, really. So you can see there's lots of muck and dirt and oil marks and wear and tear around the aeroplane, which is really, really nice. It comes with many, many liveries. So this is one of the ones that has a light underneath. Most of them are dark. I thought it might look nice to have something with a light underneath. And it's quite nice, isn't it? You can actually see handprints around the panels where they've pushed them together and screwed them up. So you can have a look in the engine block here. It's very cool, isn't it? Nicely done. Okay, let's go and jump over the top to the pilot and jump in, see if we can have a look past him into the cockpit. Okay, so you've got basic instruments, but the modelling, we'll have a look at the instruments in a moment. The modelling is very, very good. And there's no difference between inside or outside the aeroplane. It's all one model. It's nicely done. And there's no faults as far as I can see. There's a bit of flickering there on the glass. But that's such a common problem with Flight Simulator. I'm not going to really point that out too much. Okay, let's go and move the drone camera out of the way. And we'll go and jump inside the aeroplane. So we're now pilot's eye view. And we can have a look around some of the switchgear around the aeroplane. So why? Okay, so space doesn't do anything by the look of it. That's one thing to take note of. So you've got a bank of electrical switches down the right-hand side. You've got the hydraulic pressures there. There is a tablet. So in common with lots of the other Flying Iron aeroplanes, you've got all the procedures on the first page, you've got the V-speeds, you've got live data from the aeroplane, you've got charts of the live data, you've got the loadout of the fuel, and then you've got the autopilot. So they all have this in them because obviously all of the Flying Iron warbirds were manually controlled. You've got wear and tear, so there's some consumables around the aeroplane which you need to keep on top of. And then there's some basics. So I've switched on the simplified ground handling purely because I don't have rudder pedals. Otherwise, yeah, it would be quite laughable trying to watch me control it without that. You can switch GPS on instead of the gun sight. So if we try that to see what it looks like. So if we turn off the gun sight, we get a little, it looks like a Garmin 430 or something similar. We get a side control stick option. So let's come back in here. So that gives us, interesting. So the joystick's actually vanished. I was expecting it to reappear somewhere, but apparently not. That was hide control stick, sorry, I thought it said side control stick. Use World War II pilot. So there we go, there's the option for that. We can hide the pilot, we can hide the spinning prop if we wish, but we'll leave them on. And we'll leave the dynamic engine stress set up as it should be. You can push back if you wish, but we're not going to. We're just going to taxi straight out across the grass to the runway here. At Boonville, there's hardly a breath of wind. You can see the windsock over there is just moving, so it should be fairly easy to control the aeroplane. Famous last words. Okay, so how do we get this thing started? We come down at the side and we go and put the cowl flaps to open. And we crack the throttle open 20%, it says in the book. And then mixture is the right lever down here. We put it through to auto lean. So let me zoom in to show you this. So you've got auto lean, auto rich and full. So we go to auto lean. And then battery on the right hand side is over, no, I'm going to get this wrong, aren't I? You've got the radio master on is there. Let's go and have a look at all these switches to familiarize ourselves with what is down here. Yeah, there's the battery. It's hidden around the corner, look. So we've got a battery on, and you can see some of the systems have come alive. We've got the radio master. We can go and put that on as well. Well, we won't do anything until we've got the engine running. We'll follow the instructions, but we'll just see what's here. So we've got all the external lights. Down here, we've got the hook, which we can extend or retract. And we've got more lights, and yeah, it's pretty fully featured actually. And then you've got the old radio. I don't think this is operative, but it's to show what the radio would have looked like. Anyway, so fuel selector is on the left-hand side. And here it is. We need to go for the right main. And then fuel pump is to the side of the throttle. There it is. You can just hear the hum in the background when we're switching that on. And then primer is on the right hand side. So it's this switch over here. We're going to hold it on for about 4 seconds. 1001, 1002, 1003, 1004. And let go. So then mags are instrument panel at the top left over here, and we'll go and put them over to both. And the starter is back over here underneath the cover. So we're going to go and hold it on. Make sure I've got the parking brake on. I'm not sure if this has got chocks. We're going to find out in a moment. And we have an engine start. And we're not rolling anywhere, which is always good. So we have a handle here which will close the canopy, but we're actually going to start with the canopy open so we can duck our head around while we're taking off and looking around. Okay, so as soon as you've got the engine running, you can go to Auto Rich, which is over here, and it's done it on its own by the look of it, which is interesting. So we're looking for 1000 RPM for warming the engine up. So you can see at the moment, so the long needle is hundreds, the short needle is thousands. Okay. So you're waiting until you get to 40 centigrade. So I'm just looking around, and it's down here, look. So we're at 50 already, so we're completely happy. So let's go and calibrate the altimeter. So it's just moved a little bit there. We'll calibrate directional gyro. It looks like it's fine. I'm just using the keyboard shortcut keys to do that. Okay, so we can go and put lights on as required. Now we're going to put the radio master switch on. We'll go and put the... So it'll be interesting to see what these lights do. So section that's bright, wing running lights on bright. We'll put all of them on bright and see what happens, and see what it looks like outside. Okay. So if we go and have a look, actually let's go and look with the drone camera. Very cool. So I'm just going to go and put the external camera out for a moment, just so we can flip the throttle. Starting to move. So come back down to 1000 RPM. Come off the parking brake. And head tracking on. quite tricky without rudder pedals to keep a handle on this. You really do need differential braking. Yeah, you can see there, look, with digital brakes, it just almost wants to tip over. Okay, so we just got the throttle at tick over at the moment, just checking around, make sure everything looks okay. So view out of the front is awful because it's such a wide nose. You can't really see anything. So you'd be putting a lot of trust in ground crew. Okay, here we go. Just playing around with the levers there a little bit. And we're up. Let's get this back to about 35 on the manifold pressure. We don't want to push the engine if we don't have to. Let's have a look at those temperatures. Yeah, look, it's up to 100 pretty quickly. So we're going to leave the... Let's get the oil shutters open as well. Slow the propeller down. I thought the propeller was supposed to be automatic, but I appear to have control of it, so I'm going to use it. So you can see you've got a collimated gun sight, which is really nice. How are those temperatures doing? They're holding. So let's go and close those cowl flaps and the oil shutters. And let's go and close the canopy up now. And let's have a look at it from outside. It looks nice, doesn't it? Okay, how are we doing for speed then? It's about 200, just over 200 knots. That's 4,600 feet. Just familiarising myself with which instrument is which. Aircraft of this era never have things in the same place as each other. So let's turn back up the valley. So there's the airfield back over there. Okay, let's open the propeller up. Let's open the throttle up. And keep an eye on that indicated airspeed. We're coming up through 250 knots. It's interesting that this has got knots and not miles per hour. So it's not the fastest aeroplane in the world. If we open it right up, so we're maximum throttle, maximum propeller, in a 1,000 feet a minute dive, and it's just coming up towards 300. Okay, should we do some tests with manoeuvrability then? So let's try an aileron roll. So there's no elevator, I'm just watching for how much the nose drops. Interesting. Okay, so let's do the same again. So we'll lift the nose gently, roll on the ailerons, push forward gently, and release it. So I wonder if it will flick roll. So let's try it. So we'll lift it slightly and roll under and then push it forwards. Oh no, it kicks out the opposite direction, look. Interesting. That seems to be common in the flight model of lots of the aeroplanes in Flight Simulator. It's doing it there, look. So what about flick rolling it if we go for a high G turn? So we'll turn back in towards the airfield. So full throttle, full propeller for just for a few seconds. Get the speed up. So 250, 300 knots, and let's see if it's got any sort of contrails modelled. Yes, it has. What about sustained turn performance? Let's have a go. 75% throttle. And roll it in. And we're going to wind in more and more. So we're going to keep an eye on the airspeed. Oh, it's losing airspeed very quickly. So full propeller, full throttle. 160. Pull back harder and harder, is losing speed, 160. Starting to shake, but it's not losing. Oh, we're not losing control. Just as we're losing it there, look, it's flicked out of the turn as we made it impossible for it. Interesting. So should we take it up to altitude and see if it will spin? How are the temperatures doing? Oil pressure's high-ish, but it's coming off quite quickly. Okay, how are we doing for height? 4,200, 300. Of course, that's above sea level. But we can see visually we're quite high above the airfield now, so we'll go over the flat of the valley, continue climbing as we go. See what happens. I don't think it will spin, or will it? Yes, it will. And it's not going to come out, or is it? We're in the middle of a hole in the flight model of Flight Simulator, so I've just used slew to remove the momentum, so you can get into unrecoverable spins with it. But I had to force it for quite some time before it would enter fully into the spin. So what's it like at low level? Let's go and fly the runway low and fast and see how we get on. do a reversal at the end of the airfield, so let's go over the top. And bring it back down. I think we're starting to hurt the engine, so I pulled the throttle back. It didn't like it. Slowly killing it. So I'm going to stop throwing it around the sky like a lunatic. And bring it in for a landing. So how are we doing for speed? Down to 120. Let's go and get the canopy open then. So gear down. Flaps to mid setting. I think I've just lost the engine. Okay, flaps up. Skim over the trees, hopefully, and just into the field, and we got away with it. So yeah, we've killed the engine. Which comes of throwing it around too high up power for too long, basically. Can we roll all the way back? It's quite amusing, isn't it? Okay, we may have just lunched the engine, but at least we brought it back for the mechanics, so they haven't got far to go. And we'll put the parking brake on. Interesting. So, what did we break? Let's go and have a look. If we open up the tablet and have a look on the workshop screen, it's looking okay. So did we just run it dry of fuel on the tank we were using? Possibly. So I will admit I don't know how to check the fuel levels in each tank yet. So that's probably what I've done. It's got oil pressure. Just having a look around. So manifold pressure, RPM, vertical speed indicator, water injection. Interesting. That's a puzzler. So one of the things that's really lovely, I'll show you this, in this aeroplane, if we go into the community folder, the documentation from Flying Iron is amongst the best laid out and best written of any of the documentation I've seen in the simulator. It really does make a laughing stock of some of the other developers. It's almost like a business document, which I'm used to reading. So it's very, very good. So I'm just looking around to see where the fuel level is. So if I type in fuel tank selector valve, pressurization control, pump switch, quantity gauges are, oh, okay, they're down there. So yeah, they're down here. So left. We were on right main, weren't we? No, we had loads of fuel. I must have done something else to the engine then. Just out of interest then, if we fire it up again. There's pitch. Notice I said that there was an automatic pitch control in operation. There seems to be automatic mixture as well, which is ever so slightly odd. I must have just overheated it, I guess. I was throwing the aeroplane around like a bit of a lunatic. So let's go and take it around for another circuit just to see about landing it properly. Go and open those cowl flaps, and oil once bitten, twice shy, I guess. I'm going to keep the engine cool this time. So we're just going to do a quick circuit around and come back in. It's funny, isn't it? I've flown so many aeroplanes recently, I've become kind of a jack of all trades but not master of none. I really do need to focus on one aeroplane. And I will admit I'm not a huge fan of warbirds, even though I can appreciate how well put together this is and how well simulated it is. I'm much more interested in kind of GA aviation with well simulated little aeroplanes. So we'll just come out to the end of the valley here, turn back in, and that will give us some time to stabilise the aeroplane. So we're doing about 140 knots, which is fine. We're not going to bother winding the canopy up, we're not going fast enough. Okay, just to show you the gear animation. Hopefully this time we won't kill the aeroplane. But that's what testing these things is all about, isn't it? That's why it's a simulator. I know sometimes I get raked over the coals by people who write to me and say I've set a very bad example. Okay, let's see about these flaps this time. They're nicely modelled, aren't they? So if anything, I want to come in steep because of those visibility issues. Almost better off staying in the cockpit because you're sat so high up anyway in this aeroplane. There we go, we three-pointed it. More by luck than judgment, but I'll take it. Nearly stalled the engine. Right, what's the ground handling like then? It's fairly straightforward. Sounds amazing, doesn't it? Bit belching smoke where it's not burning enough. Interesting. If we increase the propeller speed. No, it's just because it's running a tick overload. It doesn't like it. Very cool. So we should be able to... Let me just turn off the head tracking a moment. Can we just restrict the fuel? Can we do that? No, it's got this automatic mixture control, which is playing havoc with it. Interesting. So if that's going to be automatic, was there anything in the tablet for that? Can we stop it from doing it? No. So how can we kill the engine? Cut the fuel off with the fuel pump, I guess. We can turn the mags off. And it won't let us do that either. Interesting. So I wonder if that's just a control configuration issue. We can't disable the fuel tank either. It's not having it. It's almost like it's helping us too much, which is really odd. Well, that's something for me to go read the book about and to find out about, but something I absolutely hadn't expected. But yeah, it's an interesting problem. It really will not let me go to zero on the... Anyway, I'm not going to mess around with it any longer. There you go. Flying Iron Hellcat, which I don't appear to be able to shut down. I'll see you again soon. Hopefully this will still... If I keep filling up with fuel, it'll make a nice noise on the corner of the airstrip here for weeks, probably. See you again soon. Take care.